everyone, it is Julian here from Connections Early Years Family Center. For this week we have a very timely topic. We are going to be talking about sun safety. And sun safety is especially important between the months of April to September because that is when the sun here in Canada is at its most intense and can cause the most damage to our skin and to our bodies. The biggest reason that we focus on sun safety is for something called melanoma, which is a type of skin cancer that many people develop later in life as a result of a lack of sun safety in their early years. So this is things such as repeated sunburns or very severe sunburns during the early stages of their life, leading to things such as skin cancer in their later years, but also things such as damage to your eyes and other sun-related illnesses. So you want to always practice sun safety as part of your everyday lives and to role model this for your little ones. For our first tip, before we even get into our 5 sun safety tips, the first thing you need to always remember is that at any time during the year, but especially in the summer, if you're out with your little ones, you always need to have some water with you to make sure that you and them are staying hydrated and healthy. Because it gets so hot and so humid in the summer. Sometimes we need to pause with our little ones and remember to take a rest and drink some water to lose what we're replacing as we sweat out our water supply. Aside from that, we also have to focus on what is going on in the sky above us, and a great place to do this is to start by checking the weather. You can find this online, you can find this in the newspaper, you can watch your morning news. There's a million different ways to check the weather. And you're going to be looking at different things such as the UV index, the temperature, the humidity levels, and all of these are a great way to start your day by knowing what to prepare for outside. So we know it's going to be a beautiful sunny day like today, or maybe have some showers and no sun at all, because the sun is out all year round, even in the winter, and sun safety is something you should be practicing all year long. So we're going to talk about our first sun safety subtopic, which is covering your skin. When we talk about covering our skin, the reason we do this is because as the sun's rays come down, as well as the UV rays, which is ultraviolet light from the sun, it can damage our skin. This can happen to anyone of any age, and it always is something that you can avoid by simply wearing a nice long sleeve shirt made of a loose fabric. So this one, as you can tell, is very light fabric. Ideally a white one or a light colored one will attract less rays from the sun, but if you get a loose light fabric, it will still allow your little ones to cover their skin and protect from the sun without leaving their skin exposed and without getting too hot as well. Also, another alternative you often can see are they're typically called water shirts, and they're just, again, they're that dry fit fabric. You often see them for athletes or from swimming classes that can protect against the sun as well. For your legs, using athletic tights, which are made of spandex and other breathable materials, is often a good choice for the summer because, again, it still allows your body to breathe and not overheat, but avoids the sun damage that can happen if you're spending a lot of time in maybe shorts and a t-shirt and you're not sunscreening. It's important to remember that as long as we're using proper fabrics, we're going to be okay, and especially at days such as the beach, you want to make sure that you're covering up to stay protected from sun damage. At some point in our lives, you're probably going to get a burn on your scalp, and the best way to avoid this is by wearing a hat. The best type of hat for the summer is to wear a wide brim hat that not only protects the top of your head, but also will protect your face and the back of your neck as well. And for your little ones, especially their eyes can be quite prone to sun damage, so a hat helps to protect those as well. And oftentimes for your little ones, they're a little bit lighter. Sometimes you see those children who have the nice light hair when they're born, and then it turns into nice dark hair when they're older, but it's a little more prone to burning sometimes if it's those light pigments. So again, this is just something that you need to keep in mind when you're getting ready for your day out in the sun. Our second sun safety topic is the time of day that you are outside. From 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. is when the ultraviolet rays are the most intense. So these are the times of day that you want to try and avoid being outside for long periods of time in direct sunlight. Not always possible, but again, trying to break these up by, if you want to go for a walk on your lunch break with your little one, if you're working from home, take a stroll down maybe a nice shady street if you can find it, or again, structuring activities in the morning or in the afternoon after these peak periods of sunlight is a great way to avoid some of the most intense ultraviolet rays, which are the ones that can be the most damaging for our health. We're going to talk about looking for shade and why shade is important. Shade can block out some of those very harmful UV rays that are what is going to cause damage to your skin. There's natural shade. If you happen to be lucky enough to have any big trees in your neighborhood, or to be taking a walk in somewhere like a forest that's very shaded, that's a great way to find natural shade and protect yourself from the sun. But also things like this, patio umbrellas, sun tents, all of these man-made sun shelters all work the same way to keep yourself out of the sun and out of those UV rays. If you are going to the beach with your little ones, something to consider is maybe bringing one of these or a sun shelter to, again, mitigate that damage that can happen to your little one's skin from being out in the sun too long when there's not a natural source of shade around. And if you are lucky enough to be in a natural source, keeping in mind that as the sun moves through the skies, sometimes where your shade line is can shift as well. So just keeping that in mind when you're looking for sources of shade. For our fourth sun safety topic, it is sunscreen. And many of us, including me, have sometimes in our lives underestimated the power of sunscreen until you get a very bad burn. So for your little ones, it's important to note a couple different things about sunscreen. Not all sunscreens are the same, and everyone will have their preference, and everyone has a different fit of sunscreen that they prefer. You can get special sunscreen for children, as well as sunscreen that is recommended only for adults. So again, just do your research before you pick your sunscreen that you're using for your little one. There's chemical-based sunscreens as well as mineral-based. So again, these are all things for you to consider before you make your decision about what sunscreen to use for your children. But once you get it, it's important to also read the instructions for how to use your sunscreen. So it's not as simple as slathering it on and walking out and doing all your other activities. So a couple quick guidelines for sunscreen. When you're doing it, it's important to pay attention to how often you are reapplying it. You should be reapplying your sunscreen every 2 hours or after swimming or other vigorous physical activity that will cause you to sweat. When you put your sunscreen on, it's recommended that you wait 15 to 30 minutes, because what happens is you put the sunscreen on and then there's a drying process that happens where some of it evaporates and it leaves that protective layer on your skin. So if you just rush out into the lake right after you put it on, it's going to wash away before it has time to evaporate, and you're going to be losing many of the benefits of sunscreen. A couple key areas to remember for your little ones when you're sunscreening them is if they are wearing perhaps sandals. Never forget the tops of their feet. Very easy to forget these and then they burn. Also our fingers, ears, and the tops of ears are quite easy to burn. Your nose because it sticks out, and also the back of your neck. These are all easy places to burn. Probably most common that people forget is the back of their knees, because sometimes you do it sitting down and you're sunscreening, you forget to get the back of your knees and you can get a burn there. So when you're sunscreening, pay attention to getting all these little areas on your little ones and to reapplying every 2 hours to try and maximize the benefits of your sunscreen of choice. And for our final and fifth subtopic of talking about sun safety, as referred to on our Windsor Essex Health website, we're talking about why it's important to protect our eyes from the sun. So often we think that nothing bad can happen to our eyes from the sun because it's not skin. But what's easy to forget is that sun can damage our eyes as well. So it's important to be wearing our sunglasses and to find sunglasses that have the UV protection and ideally will wrap around the sides. So when you're thinking about finding some sunglasses, again, look for that UV protection symbol. If your little one does need prescription sunglasses, of course, take that into consideration as well. Sunglasses come in 1,000,001 different styles and shapes, so don't worry. There's lots of options if these aren't for you. But keeping in mind that if your eyes aren't protected, some real damage can happen to them because our eyes are so important, but also so exposed. A severe damage or a severe burn to your eyes can actually result in either temporary loss of vision or longer lasting eye damage. So try and keep that in mind when you're getting ready, that having sunglasses is great. Pairing these with your hat, even if it's a little bit of a funny look, and trying to do all of those other little tips that are going to keep you out of the sun and role modeling this for your little one as well. So keeping that in mind as you're heading into the summer, check out the links below. There's the Windsor Essex Health Unit, so you can look at all of the tips that I shared with you today. So everything you need to know for your sun safety before heading out and enjoying our beautiful summer months. So thank you for watching. Hope you have a great sunny week, and I will see you next week for another outdoor learning video. Bye for now.